2008. I am walking on a counterclockwise path around the main corridor shaped like a rectangle. I go past the TV room, past the nurse's station, through the common area, past the locked exit doors, past the crafts room, past the patient's rooms, past my room, and then around again. I am savoring a small accomplishment. The staff here tell us not to take food to our rooms, but I do it anyway. There are snacks available in the common area to be eaten in the common area, but in my room I've assembled a collection of packages of Ritz crackers with peanut butter, and I just added a new one. There's a practical reason for this. It's a long time between lights out and breakfast, and I've never been able to fall asleep on an empty stomach. And I like Ritz crackers and peanut butter, but I also do it for the sense of accomplishment. I feel slightly more capable, slightly less ashamed of myself each time I take a packet of crackers from the basket on the table right in front of the nurse's station, slip the crackers into my pocket, and walk back to my room, where I add them to my collection of contraband in the middle drawer of the wooden dresser next to my bed in this room along the outer wall of the central corridor of the locked psych unit on the top floor of the main building of the Natividad Medical Center, where I have been hospitalized 5 times over the previous 9 years. I believe this current stay will be my last one. I also believed it every time before. I am walking around this corridor shaped like a rectangle. The outer wall is lined with rooms, and the inner wall surrounds the atrium, which contains benches and tables and an old radio and some green plants, and is open to the sky. I like the atrium. I like feeling the breeze from the outside. I like being able to look up at the sky. But the atrium is locked up after sundown, so I'm walking instead. The treads on the bottoms of my fuzzy blue socks grip the cold, slippery tile floor. We're not allowed to wear shoes on the unit, though at least they finally gave my clothes back, as they always ultimately do. I am restless, I am taking large steps, and I want to walk faster. I want to run. I want to run as fast as I can, as far as I can. We're not allowed to run. We're not even supposed to walk quickly. I've been told by the staff more than once to slow down my pace, but I need to move right now, so I keep walking. I try to make each step count, because soon it will be lights out and I'll have to go back to my room. It's a familiar room. It's the one I usually end up in here. It's a single, though most of the others are doubles. Usually when I first get here, they put me in a double with a male roommate, and this most recent time is no exception, even though now I'm on female hormones and my breasts have started to grow, because at this point in my life I am still legally male, and that is the only information they consider relevant. Each time they stick me in a room with a male stranger and I start to freak out, I explain that I'm a trans woman and they insist I'm a man. And I freak out even more. Finally, they move me to a single because they don't know what else to do with me. This relocation is only pragmatic. It's certainly not because they finally recognize my true gender. They still call me by my old male name, my legal name, the name on my chart, the name on the plastic bracelet sealed around my wrist. I tell them that everyone who knows me knows I'm a woman. My name is Heather, and everyone who knows me knows that my name is Heather. But why should they take me seriously when I'm crazy? I ask them why they keep using that other name, and if they bother to answer at all, they say, we have to. They say, it's the rule. They say, it's the law. One time, one of them even says, if we don't, we could lose our funding. Yes, they claim the hospital could lose its funding as a result of a counselor calling me Heather. I do everything I can to escape from that male name, but like the bracelet around my wrist, it's attached to me. They say it over and over, and it irritates me more and more, and I want to make them stop it, but I don't want to get in trouble again, so I'm walking. The atrium is encased in large panels of plexiglass that stretch from the floor to the ceiling, and I can see my reflection in them under the fluorescent lights. Sometimes I forget how I look. Whenever I first arrive on the unit, I don't have my clothes back yet, or my underwear. Through the hospital gown, the contours of my body are clearly visible, and they look rather male. I don't have any makeup here, and they won't let me shave, and sometimes I forget how other people might perceive me. The last time I arrived here, I started having a nice conversation with one of the other patients. Nice until we decided to go to her room. Well, there's never any privacy in the common area, so we just sat down in her room to have a conversation. We left the door open. We didn't think it would be a problem. But suddenly, a large male attendant rushed through the doorway as we sat there, and he shouted, "Males and females are not allowed to be in a room together." And everything happened really fast. Before I could even stand up, he grabbed me and pinned my arm behind my back. He dragged me out into the hallway, and the only thing I could think to do was to yell out, "I am female!" But apparently that was the wrong thing to do, because he twisted my arm tighter, and the pain went from mild to severe. Now, I had no intention of fighting back, but my brain couldn't keep up with what was going on, and as he marched me down the hall, I acted out of instinct and did what turned out to be a very bad idea. I tried to get away. I only wanted him to stop wrenching my arm, but now I was officially resisting, and that meant seclusion. 2 more men materialized, and the 3 of them pulled me into a tiny room and pushed me down onto my back on the wide mattress which covered the floor. They prepared to sedate me, but by now my whole body was shaking, and I guess I wasn't presenting a very promising injection site for the sedative, because in a sequence of carefully coordinated motions, 2 of the men grabbed my legs and rolled me up backwards to expose my ass, while the 3rd man jammed the needle into my buttock. I was saying no, but why should they take me seriously when I'm crazy? They left me there and locked the door, and as the drug took hold and my body stopped shaking, I consoled myself with the thought that I was alone. Completely alone, and at least now nobody else would touch me for a while. No, it's not good for me to forget how other people might perceive me. I'm walking around the corridor, around a rectangle, inside a rectangle, and I hear the sound of the television turn off. The day's activities are coming to a close, but I can fit in a few more trips around the corridor. I catch a glimpse of the brown-haired nurse. I try to avoid her. I don't like the brown-haired nurse. This most recent time the police brought me in, after they took off the handcuffs and left me in a guarded room on the emergency ward, and an attendant gave me a hospital gown and ordered me to change into it, I said no. I knew from experience that meant they were about to take my clothes away, and I didn't want them to take my clothes away, and I said no. In came 2 large men wearing padded vests, ready for trouble. I didn't want trouble, so I had to cooperate. I took off all my clothes in front of the 2 men and struggled into the gown. They took me away and assigned me a bed, and then I met the brown-haired nurse. I was sitting in the personal care room waiting to receive my personal toothbrush, my little tube of toothpaste, my little bar of soap, and my little bottle of shampoo. The Natividad Psych Unit is a short-term facility, so all the supplies are scaled down, not meant to last. Then she was there, puttering around in the boxes on the shelves. There was no one else in the room, and I waited patiently, cooperating. As I sat there, my body cold under the thin fabric of the gown, the brown-haired nurse turned to me and said, "Here you go." And with her hand holding a toothbrush and little tube of toothpaste and little bar of soap and little bottle of shampoo, she placed the items in my lap, and then pushed her hand into my crotch, too hard and too far for it to be accidental. I couldn't move. She told me to stand up and leave. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. She said it was time to go. I couldn't speak. I couldn't think. She said to get moving. Maybe she had been curious. Maybe she never had the chance to grope a trans woman before. I managed to get up and walk out of there, and then I hid in my room for hours. I skipped lunch. I skipped crafts. And then later I went to the nurse's station and told them what the brown-haired nurse had done, and they said they didn't believe me, and they said it didn't happen, and they didn't do anything. Why should they take me seriously when I'm crazy? So now I stay away from her. But I still have to see the brown-haired nurse. I can still feel her hand in my crotch, and I don't want trouble. I don't want to be uncooperative. And I am walking, and now comes lights out. I finish my current trip around the rectangle, go to my room and shut the door. This is it. I am going to get stabilized. I'm going to stay on my meds this time. I have to. I can't keep going through this shit. I can't keep coming back here. And as it turns out, though I don't know it at the time, this is going to be my final time that I'm hospitalized here. But in the meantime, right here, right now, I have to take care of myself. I have to use all the resources I can access. I don't have a lot to work with. I have my own room with a bed, with a pillow and sheets and a blanket. I have a dresser with drawers. I have a toothbrush, a tube of toothpaste, a bar of soap, a bottle of shampoo. And I have a collection of Ritz crackers with peanut butter. They're my Ritz crackers. They're mine.